All right, Matt, talk to me about Waterloo. Again, this tale of the condo market having high active listings, no doubt. Is there anything particular you wanted to share surrounding Waterloo as well?
I think, this is the Waterloo region, just not Waterloo.
Yeah.
But there's been a massive increase in the condo development. I mean, this is a growing region. There are a lot of colleges and universities there. So I think there was this, additional demand for a lot of condos for that. But now we're seeing this potential pullback in students, potential pullback in immigration that this region was absorbing a lot of. And we're starting to see that inventory pile up on the market, and 101% increase year over year is quite staggering. And we're almost going off the page here. Everything's going to need to be readjusted starting next month. If this trend continues.
Next month, it will no longer say 600 at the top of that chart.
It'll be moved to 7. Everything will be moved down, and we'll see. Now, typically, we start to peak out in May and June. So we should start to see a leveling off over the next month or two.
Yeah. This is a great reminder because I know that Jen and I had an opportunity where we were looking at new condo developments out that way 2 years ago. Well, I guess 3 or 4 years ago now. Like it was in that 2021, 2022 time. And, this is that reminder when you jump onto the bandwagon because everybody else is purchasing, this is where we start to see that kind of the rollover in terms of how the market has been going, right? And so if you're the one that's jumping on the bandwagon at the end, this is sometimes where you get into trouble, right? Yeah. Now, thankfully, we looked at that and we thought it was a nice opportunity at the time. We didn't do anything with it. But looking back in hindsight, had we done something with it, we would have been a part of the pre-construction condo buyer right now that's coming up to a closing, and the condo is likely not going to appraise for what it was. I remember one of the ones that we were looking at was I can't remember if it was a 1+1 or a 2-bed for $650 before you even added everything else in. So it was quite high for the area. And yeah, it's just one of those great reminders that, when everybody's doing it, there's going to be a glut of that inventory. And if there's any change in what the status quo is in the market, that's where you can get caught because you're buying something and it is speculating because you're anticipating future growth of 3-4 years. When you close, you're expecting that to have gone up. Otherwise, you're at a deficit. You're at a loss in terms of that investment. And it's not that you're moving into it there and then. So again, if you're buying new, you got to remember there is a speculation element to that, even if it's intention for you to close on it, because you don't know what the value is going to be in 3 to 4 years when it finishes.
That's right.
Awesome. All right. Termination volume. Yep. We're seeing that up across the board as condo buyers, as sellers just in general, are trying to figure out where the market is, where they can get a buyer. And Matt, I want to say about this, a lot of that challenge is coming because we're not seeing enough showings. We're not seeing enough showings, and realtors as well are sitting there and we're saying that, it's hard to tell you for certain that you need to lower your price because we're not getting enough showings. Now, Matt, in a traditional market, we can say, hey, if you're not getting any showings, you're easily 8% off where you should be in terms of where you're at in the market. But that's when homes are selling. When nothing is selling, it's really hard to figure out where that needs to be, other than you've got to make a drastic enough adjustment to bring that buyer to the market and see the value there, as opposed to what sold yesterday.